Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the third and final installment of our review of Volume 1 of G-Frame, Mobile Suit Gundam G-Frame. These are a series of candy toys. We first saw the new Gundam and the Sazabi, and here we have the Unicorn Gundam in Destroy mode. So we're going to be taking a look at this set A, which is just the basic frame and the armor, and then set B, which is our much more articulated frame, which includes the weapons, the beam magnum, and the shield, as well as the bust of the Unicorn Gundam. So as we've seen so far, just set A on its own, not too good. These really aren't, I mean, it's okay, but I think you really kind of have to have both to really get the most out of these figures. So that said, we'll take a look here at the Unicorn. Here on the outside of the box, you can see it's just kind of the same stuff we've seen so far. There's just the other two in the line. Once again, the Sazabi and the new Gundam on the back. Just the same kind of image from the front of the box, and there's a little advertisement like, hey, here's what you got, here's what you could have if you have set F as well. It's not A, B, it's A and F for armor and frame. Anyway, that's pretty much it, a little bit more there on the top. But let's just get it popped open. One thing that you guys did ask to see in these reviews is a look at just the frame by itself, so I'll show you that here in a minute once we get along more here into the video. But anyway, we have our Bandai chewing gum, of course, in there. And then, as you can see, we've just got, it's already kind of mostly assembled, except for a few pieces on there. So let me just get this guy put together, and we'll take a look. Okay, so here he is all put together, and I gotta say, first impression is actually, I think this is probably the best looking one, just straight up, compared to the new and the Sazabi anyway. Without the movable frame, just the fixed frame. There's a few small points of articulation in there, but really nothing too much to worry about. So just out of the box as it is, I think this is probably the best looking one just without that. It doesn't look too bad in terms of the proportions and the pose. It looks pretty alright. The hands are still quite large for this, and we saw that with the other two as well. And as I mentioned in those reviews, I think you could probably use these hands on pretty much a lot of HG kits. They're kind of similar in size. One thing you'll notice, though, however, is that this kit is missing a lot of little painting apps. And the Unicorn is mostly white, but they did find a way to miss a lot of these smaller color apps that it has. Little bits of gray for bits of armor or kind of like frame here and there. And then, of course, there's a lot of Psycho Frame missing. The Psycho Frame on the forearms is not painted in. The Psycho Frame kind of around on little bits here and there on the legs. And there's just a lot of little bits of Psycho Frame that are not painted that should be. That's not really too, I mean, I'm not really too surprised about that, as it is just a 500 yen candy toy. You can't expect it to be perfectly painted, but I think this one would probably definitely look much nicer if you went in and did some more painting on this guy. So just straight out of the box as it is, not bad looking, but needs some painting, and it needs a lot more articulation. So let's take a look at set 2. Before we do that, let's take a look at a size comparison here. So it is compared with the HGUC 1/44 scale Unicorn. So here again, as you can see, I'm going to put this probably around 1/200 scale. It's definitely smaller than 1/44 scale HG, so just keep that in mind as well. Okay, the second box here of G-Frame is the frame. So outside of the box, just kind of showing the similar kind of stuff. On the side there, the other ones in the line. A little bit more imagery there at the top and on the back. Just once again showing what you get in here. A little connector for the shield, and the shield, the beam magnum, which just fits into the hand, and then the Unicorn's bust there and here. So just kind of all the armor just fits around on the frame. So let's pop this open, and once again, of course, we'll have our gum in there. And there it is. There's the shield, the beam magnum, the bust, and the frame. So here, let me pop that out. So yeah, a few people had asked about the frame, as you could kind of use this for like a kit bash, making your own sort of kind of custom model. You could put these joints like into some sort of HG kit or something. And as you can see, as you have seen, it's definitely not 1/44 scale, but you could just put these joints into another kit. I mean, it doesn't have to fit this exact same scale as this. You don't have to put everything onto this frame. So you do that. I mean, this basically would be like a very cheap 500 yen inner frame that you could use for a kit, and I think that could definitely work. I mean, you could do that for sure. There's a lot of hard points already built onto that you could use, just like stick a peg in there, fix your armor onto there. It wouldn't be too hard. It's sort of like the Kotobukiya Architect frame arms architect frame, except much smaller and simpler. But of course it's all very nicely articulated just as it is, but let's just throw all the unicorn armor on here and see how it looks. Now one thing too that I do want to mention that I haven't mentioned in the other 2 reviews is that you guys have seen me, once I have all the armor onto the articulated frame, I'll put it up on an action base to display a cool action pose of it. But just the fixed frame doesn't have a point to plug in an action base. Now you could very well just drill a hole up into that, but as it is, it doesn't have a point to connect the action base, whereas the articulated frame does have an action base connection point. So okay, so first up here is the bust. Very cool. I like these quite a bit. This is just a really nice thing. It looks nice all in black, so I don't know if I really want to paint this up in like the official colors or paint it up. You know, you could paint it up and do like some like marble effect to it, make it look like a statue or something would probably be really cool. But one thing that I was asked as well is if the head is swappable for just like the regular head. I don't know if the person who ever asked that wanted to put the black head on the mobile suit or the colored head on the bust, but either way, for whoever was wondering that, there you go. You can see the head is swappable on that. And anyway, there it is, up on a base, posed up, very cool. Again, I would say go in, paint some bits in there, fill that in, at least do some panel lining on this to make it look its best. Also, I didn't mention this before, but about the seam lines, it's got a few of them. It's got seam lines down the middle of the forearms, down the middle of the shoulders, down the middle of the lower leg. Don't really think that's going to be too bad though, because the back of the leg is covered up with that piece on the back, and the front of the leg, the way the seam line goes down the front of the leg, it's kind of like between the details, so I think you'll probably be pretty safe with that. But there's also a seam line right down the middle of the foot, though. That's going to be pretty annoying. So again, that's just for anyone who like really wants to kind of go all out and like try to basically turn this into a model kit by going in and fixing the seam lines and fully like painting this up, or even just partially painting it up. Anyways, so that won't apply to all of you guys, but for those of you who are interested in possibly doing that, this kit does have some pretty nasty seam lines on there. But again, it's a 500 yen, well now 1,000 yen with the 2 sets together. A little candy toy kit. So very cool. These are quite interesting. I'm sure these won't be for everyone, but for those of you guys who do like this kind of stuff or just want something small, little, cheap, simple to put on your desk or on your desk at work or in your car or something like that, I think these are pretty cool. A lot of people have pointed out that for around 1,000 yen or however much you can get a set of these for, you can probably buy a simpler like a HG kit or something like that. And yes, that's true. I would agree. Personally, I would probably prefer just a HG kit rather than a set of one of these anyway myself. That's totally agreeable, but on the other hand, these are pretty nice toys. So thank you again to Japan Toys in Australia who sent me this set of them to check out, guys. If you're living in Australia and you want to check out some stuff for sale there, they have Gunpla kits, figures, and things like that. They've also sent me a whole bunch of the Love Live figures that I've shown with you guys. So yeah, check their site down below if you guys are living in Australia. And thank you guys so much for watching this series about G-Frame. I'm not sure if I'll be getting any more of the G-Frame series. We'll see. If I do, then I'll surely share that with you guys, but that's it for Volume 1. Hope that was interesting or useful for you guys, and if any of you were interested in checking out the series or wanting to know a little bit more about it. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.